So millions of people, including senior citizens, will be receiving a big relief check this week. This is thanks to the new changes that the Social Security Administration has just made. More relief money is being allocated to help Social Security recipients, and in this video, we'll be discussing the latest news about this. So millions of people, everybody, will be getting their Social Security payments worth up to $1,657 this week. Seniors born between the 21st and 31st of the month will get their boosted benefit check this week. Retirees get Social Security payments worth up to $1,657 on average this year, as the amount increased in line with the 5.9% COLA rise. The benefits increased by $92 from around $1,565, and seniors can start claiming the cash between the ages of 62 and 70. Those between the ages of 66 and 67 could get up to $3,345 per month. But the good news is that some seniors could get the maximum Social Security amount of $4,194, but only if they meet certain criteria. Retirees must wait until 70 before claiming the benefit, and they must have worked in Social Security approved jobs for at least 35 years. And according to multiple news sources, if you work fewer years, the zeros that you accumulate will affect the amount you receive. Beneficiaries must have also earned the Social Security taxable minimum to be lined up for the maximum benefit. In 2022, the wage cap is around $147,000, which is up from $142,800 in 2021, an increase of $4,200 in fact. And in 2017, the Social Security wage cap was only $127,000. So to get the maximum benefit, seniors must have been a high earner throughout their entire time in employment. Recent recipients of Social Security income, everybody, just have to wait days for the next payment, which is due to be sent out March 1st. More than 8 million people across the nation receive SSI income. According to the Social Security Administration, this year the maximum amount for individuals has increased to $841 from $794. The benefit stands at $1,261 for a married couple if both spouses are eligible for SSI. Americans can receive both SSI and Social Security benefits. If this applies to you, you will get your next Social Security payment in the next coming days. Folks, what do you think about President Biden? Should he do a better job in increasing Social Security benefits this year? Tell me what you think in the comments below. Benefits will be sent out on that day for Americans who have received Social Security before May 1997. However, the SSA has said that Americans need to be aware of the Social Security rules that could potentially catch them off guard. For instance, if your current spouse does not qualify for their own benefits, they can claim benefits based on your earnings. An ex-spouse can also claim benefits based on your earnings. To qualify on your record, your ex-spouse must have been married to you for at least 10 years. And Americans have also been warned by the Social Security Administration.
Myself such time as I may consume.
Gentleman is recognized.
Mr. Speaker, I rise today in support of H.R. 3967 as amended, the Honoring Our Pact Act of 2021. When we sent our service members into harm's way, we made a pact to care for them when they came home. But for far too long, Congress and the Department of Veterans Affairs have been slow to accept responsibility and cost of that care, citing high costs or lack of absolute scientific proof of illness connections to service. The result is a disability claims process that is cumbersome and one that places the burden of proof for toxic exposure on veterans themselves. Every day, more and more veterans speak out about exposure to environmental hazards and other toxic substances during their military service. Recently, I put out a call encouraging toxic-exposed veterans to share their experiences with the House Veterans Committee. We heard from thousands of veterans in 49 states. These reflections are very powerful, and I'd like to share some of them with you now. Navy veteran Ed described how toxic exposures overwhelmed his senses. He wrote, quote, "You could not escape the jet fuel. You could see it, smell it, and taste it," end quote. I heard from veteran Mike, who said, quote, "Even when we weren't actively engaged in dumping items into the burn pit, we were still exposed," end quote. Air Force veteran Christopher R. described his dealings with VA, stating, quote, "I continue to be rejected because they say that it's impossible to prove that it is service-related. I never worked with chemicals before my service or since. I feel like a nuisance to the VA health system," end quote. I heard from the widow of Army veteran Austin Monk, who said, quote, "No wife should have to bury her 22-year-old husband because of his exposure to unsafe conditions while in service to his country," end quote. These stories are heart-wrenching and frustrating. Our veterans are fighting their own government to grant them the care and benefits they've earned. We should be outraged listening to these stories, and it should be clear how urgent passing the Honoring Our Pact Act is for our veterans. Veterans and veteran service organizations agree. I ask unanimous consent, Mr. Speaker, to enter the letters of support from more than 42 veteran service organizations into the record.
Without objection.
So I wish to thank Nancy Pelosi, our Speaker, for her commitment to bring this bill to the floor. After years of diligent input from my colleagues, our staff, VA, VSOs, and toxic exposed veterans themselves, I'm confident that we are bringing the best possible version of this bill up for a vote. The administration agrees and has stated that it, quote, "strongly supports," end quote, this legislation. Mr. Speaker, I ask unanimous consent to enter the Statement of Administrative Policy for H.R. 3967 into the record.
Without objection.
Well, it is now time for the members of this body to answer a simple question. Am I willing to support our troops and honor our nation's promise to them? This bill addresses the true cost of war, and opposing it would be a vote against our service members and veterans. Such a vote would be inconsistent with the thank yous and patriotic displays so many of my colleagues offer on Veterans Day. Veterans want action, and they deserve our action. We made a promise to deliver comprehensive toxic exposure legislation, and I intend to keep that promise. The Honoring Our Pact Act will address the full scope of issues affecting toxic exposed veterans' access to VA care and benefits while reforming VA's presumptive decision-making process. It will expand VA health care eligibility for over 3.5 million veterans exposed to burn pits and establish a presumption of service connection for over 23 respiratory illnesses and cancers. There is no other toxic exposure legislation in Congress like this one, in scope,